didn't get to answer your question about the mail. Republicans always, because something that Republicans are scared is they don't seem to fare well in the mail elections. Like you have Utah,
The Republicans don't?
Republicans, they don't. But now I would argue that the reason they did not fare well in the mail is because I disagree with this vehemently when I worked for the Democrats, but that door knocking, address taking, harassing the neighbors is what they do. And I thought it was the worst idea when the mail wasn't, because really you annoy these people. Like you're going and someone doesn't really want to talk politics. Like you're walking around with a holy book where you're selling candy like a kid. Like it's walking around speaking the good book of Democrat kind of can get annoying on Super Bowl Sunday. Like you're watching football on a Sunday.
But if it's more of an education thing, then
if you're getting their address and you just get them to sign up my papers, and so I'll leave you alone. You don't see them again. You get text messages on your phone once a month, and you get your mail-out ballot. Now, that person in a regular didn't turn out to vote for Hillary. That person now definitely would have voted for Hillary had they had that ballot sitting on their kitchen table for a couple months.
Well, and I think the Democrats did that. They did a good job of that this election, because we talked about on election IDs how many text messages I got.
But for the record, in a normal election year, without the mail,
they don't do that.
No, they still do that. Waste the time with the door knocking, and it's cost them. In those, so you could argue that they just played a mail game that Republicans have yet to build. Trump tried to put one together in the last 2 weeks because you can't get access to all the Republican houses and go to each one of them and go, listen, make sure, here's the paperwork, send in this ballot. You don't even have to go vote.
If there's one thing the Democrats love to do, it's educate. You know, like you have a lot of teachers, lectures. You got a lot of unions, you got lecture, and you got a lot of
panels, committees. We already got
intellectualists.
Biden's already started 3 PAPS groups, 3 blue ribbons. We're gonna have one for COVID. We're gonna have one for crime.
There you go.
What's the third one?
I don't know, putting you on the spot. You can think about it.
It doesn't matter. There's going to be 10, 20, 30 of these. Don't worry. Distinguished people will be running.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It fell into the Democrats' hands because all they wanted to do is educate people how to vote. This is how you vote by mail. This is how you do it. Do. And that, probably
favored them
helped. That's
in
why.
This election for sure.
And that's why I think no one's really that upset to say like, oh, or not so upset, so surprised that all the votes came in for Democrats into the voting, because they were the ones that educated their voters about it. And Trump was the one that told them to go vote in person. So
he didn't try.
If all those mail-in votes from a mail route came in Democratic, then okay, that was the strategy from the get-go for them. So that's why I'm not all that surprised in calling foul here, in calling travesty of the game even. But I think it's something to be considered. That was the strategy. This was a clear-cut thing.
I think if we're going to keep pursuing this mail-out balloting route, I think Republicans will be able to adjust. The only issue is in each state, your post office is controlled by blue or red. And if now...
Is that true, Craig?
You have a postmaster general. You have a postmaster general and a governor. The
post office is a very left-leaning.
Yeah, but
it is.
But whoever finds that, how well it's ran in the state, and how much money it receives.
They're not elected, though. They're appointed. Who appoints postmaster generals?
The governor,
the president,
with the approval
president?
of
the postmaster general.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I mean like the local ones.
Postmasters?
Like your mom's in Ligonier, right?
They're just promoted from within. So they're literally at postmaster level. Like you don't even need a college education to do that.
But I'm talking.
It's just somebody who wanted to move up in the company and become
who's head of Pennsylvania mayor.
Okay. I think there is a state.
Oh, there's like there's levels to like the corporate. Like it's ran like a normal business but a normal business that likes to lose money. It's like how they're ran.
Thanks for differentiating.
But so they have the whole corporate structure of supervisors and useless people in this system.
What concerns me about it is the state in charge has control over the mail. That seems to me to favor them.
The political party
almost always.
But they are probably making the same connections. It's the same way Planned Parenthood, makes their connection, makes their donations. The post office does the same thing. The union donates to majority Democrat candidates.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm not talking.
But they're making connections when they do that. When they make those donations, they go and ask for favors. Okay. Just like how every president. Trump's
it's
right
political.
Now making favors.
Just like a normal business is normally political. They're going out there doing the same thing. They're making connections.
That's normal for a private sector business. We're trying to talk about like a government program.
See, I thought the thing with the post office is they always wanted them to act more like a private business, right?
It's not. It's supposed to not be political. That's why it's not supposed to be Democrat or Republican.
Regular businesses aren't supposed to be political either. But
that's why they say they want the post office to act like a regular business and not be political. And it worked. You're right. It's like a failed small business that we all tolerate because it functions.
But
right now it's not.
But they can't change prices until you go through.
It's not
Yeah,
built.
they don't have the freedom to do that.
It's built for communications. Like
It's like Amtrak.
So you're asking the people in
war,
Congress
how-
who never made, like, these people who obviously don't know how to manage money to make decisions on what postage is. So it doesn't make any sense the way it's ran. They need to have the federal protection, the agency to protect the sanctity of the mail.
Yeah.
But they need to have the freedom to not have to go to Congress every time they want to raise stamp prices, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I
mean, all government agencies have that issue.
I'm just trying to put this in the perspective of if I'm governor and I don't like the mail.
Yeah.
Because the mail-out balloting is going to hurt me, what I would do. Or if I like it, I think it'll help me.
Which you don't have that in Pennsylvania. You have a Democratic
that
governor.
likes it and pushes it, and that's what I don't like about them. It's not, to me, it's looking political, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's like you have Utah, where it's been red and it's been mail for a while. However, that said, these states that go mail seem to stay the same. And is that just because the governor has a lot of control over the mail? So if the mail is going to play a big role in the election, the governor is going to have a new say. That, like, he doesn't have that say over the polling places. Like he has it in the mail.
Did you have the option to send it UPS?
What?
Could you send it UPS?
I was wondering that actually. That was going to be one of my counterpoints
No
here.
idea.
I don't know if that was even an
think you
option.
can. I mean, you can use private. I mean, you can use FedEx to send regular mail.
But,
So I don't see why you didn't.
I don't like
I don't know how the
a
process
third party handling votes. I don't like this third parties. These random. I don't care if they're public.
I still stand to the.
I mean,
you got to show up. I think
the final point I was going to make about the post office is, who else were you going to have to do it? You know what I mean?
The
Like
polls.
they're federal
The polls.
governments.
We have
they're
polling
federal.
stations. We have polling places.
But
That
what are
do
you going to
votes.
do?
The post office doesn't have to do votes.
You're going to deputize like I don't know, 100,000 people to
Right
do
now,
that kind of thing.
the way-
Like you have the post office
this
who's
goes-
literally already
Alec,
being paid to bring
you want to take
pieces
this
of
argument,
paper
you
from
want to take
point A to
this
point
argument
B.
real sideways? You know how they want to get two cops
No,
in
I
every
don't.
car, one of each ethnicity?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you want a black and white cop. Well, I want a Democrat and Republican mailman on every route.
Yeah.
And when these things are processed, I want Democrat and Republican making sure when they put them in bins,
You know what? Honestly,
like we do at the polls.
And you know what? That would have been. I would have been.
And you're
okay.
talking about money. We're
I would've
talking
been
about
okay
whether
with that. I would've been
it's
okay.
soluble.
I would have been okay with that. I'm just saying, you already have an agency set up to bring pieces of paper from point A to point B. Why wouldn't you tap them to do this? There's actually an
'Cause they can't
efficient way of doing it for the government.
It is very efficient
Because
for
they're extremely understaffed.
for a person in the government. It's not for both sides
They're
of the
understaffed
government.
and they lose money. I mean, it's just
Well, it's because they do really stupid
We
stuff.
accept it, but I'm
Did you have to pay to mail your-
90% of
Did you have to
approval.
put a stamp on a mail-in ballot?
91%.
I don't. No, I actually heard that you didn't.
You didn't have to.
No, not in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which is weird
That'd be weird.
because
Because then it's like they should at least be paying for it.
where are they canceling at? How do they know when it was sent in?
Right.
And stuff? That's also one of the questions.
Okay, that's a good question.
Okay.